I'm going to record it, and so that way they can hop on and watch the first part of it. But tell me, Zach, Lauren, and Sam, how your January went and what your hopes are for February.
January went really well. I didn't get to the PV that I wanted to get to, but every customer that ordered from me was actually, except for 2, were all new customers, and they ordered preferred. So that was good because I don't normally have people, like I tell them to order preferred and then they're just like, no, that's okay. And then they don't. So it was nice that they were all preferred because that helped bump up the whole thing. Since I didn't get the PV amount that I wanted, it helped bump up the amount of money that I still made, which was nice. And I think just like growth in people's interest, whether they ordered or joined or anything like that or not, but just people still like actually ask me, they'll come to me with questions now about it without me having to feel like I'm like searching for all these people. People are starting to message me instead, starting the conversation. So I'd say January was good. And then moving into February, I want to continue on with that. I do want to reach 500 PV. And I want to grow me personally on the business side of things. And hopefully I'd like to work towards one new ambassador each week.
Yay. I'm excited.
Me too.
It'll be good. Lauren or Zach?
I have had a couple people, one person that I had talked to about Plexus before messaged me again saying that they had to wait till they got their tax return, so they were going to wait till February, so I need to follow up with them. They just randomly messaged me kind of like I guess, about it again. And then I had another girl that I don't even know, I wasn't even friends with her on Facebook, so like message me about Plexus. But then the conversation's kind of stalled with that right now, and I think money is going to be an issue for her, but she's like super interested, so I'm just going to try and really work with her with that. And then one of my customers, or I guess our customers, that like he said he was going to stop ordering like over the holidays, but he was going to start again once January hit, and I kind of was thinking like, oh great, I'm just gonna lose a customer. He like messaged me, he's like, yeah, so I started my Plexus again, I could definitely tell a difference when I wasn't taking it. So he's like sold, on Plexus, so that's awesome. So I'm gonna really try and see if he will want to become an ambassador, because he consistently orders like over 100 PV. So if anything, like that'll just help us out with like if we want to reach silver, getting like that. So
yeah.
And then I've been trying to keep up with like warm contacts, and because I saw like on Rachel and Ashley's team page about like messaging people like this, so you've seen my Plexus post by now, are you interested, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of just trying to like keep up those warm contacts, so then it's not so awkward to like message people with that, and then kind of see where that goes. So
that's awesome. Do you feel like you're setting yourself up for success?
I'm sorry, I was coughing. What?
Okay. Do you feel like with that you're setting yourself up for success in February?
I think so. I think some of it, hopefully, like, I think honestly some people might take a little while longer, like the people who are like, oh, and then I had another person who basically came to me about Plexus and then kind of was like, it's too expensive. But then she contacted me again about it. So she's definitely still interested. So I think some people, they might still kind of take a little while.
Yeah.
But people are definitely coming back to me that I've reached out to before. Yeah. So that's really encouraging.
Yeah.
And it kind of like keeps reminding me to like, that just because people aren't interested now, to just kind of keep those like lines open.
Yeah.
Because people will come back, and maybe not, they might come back a couple times before they finally like order or like they're interested, but like people are coming back to me about it. So
yeah, and I think it's huge to like stay consistent because they're watching.
Mm-hmm,
and
exactly.
I talked to so many people who were like, oh well, my customers just stopped, and it was because I stopped for a couple months. I'm like, yeah, I would stop too. I wouldn't trust you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And so I think it's huge that you guys have continued to be consistent, even like through, postpartum and like the first 5 months of having a baby, which are like the first hardest months of life. That you've been consistent, and that's going to pay off. People are going to be like, okay, if Lauren and Zach can be consistent.
Obviously. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it too. And I realized I got like an email from Plexus being like, your Plexiversary is coming up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's already been a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They email you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh God, and then your AWH in your back office will turn red.
What is AWH?
Annual web hosting.
I wondered what that was. Yeah, it was red. I've seen that, and I had no idea what that was. So thank you.
Okay,
I'm not the only guy. Yeah.
He's dying, I'm pretty sure. So thankfully.
I'm dying? Why am I dying?
Oh, you just said that you told me that you were dying.
Oh, I am actually. From that, yeah.
Anyway, we're just checking in and seeing how everyone's January went in February. So after Zach, you'll go. Or not.
Okay, well, I'm driving, so.
That's fine.
Literally, I'm pulling out and driving to Bridgeway.
Do hands-free. You can, switch it so you don't have to be looking at the camera.
I don't know how to do that, but okay.
And then I think Cassie just called in. Cassie, is that you?
I did. I'm here.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I don't know if you can't. I'm going to mute you until I ask you a question. Because
do that for me too.
Yeah, I'm going to do that for both of you too, because it's very hard to switch back and forth. Or not. Let's see. Mute audio. All right. So anyway, Zach, go ahead and fill us in. We're just going Montana and Cassie over how January was and what we're doing for February.
Well, January was kind of uneventful for me because I kind of took a break from Facebook in general for a while. So I'm kind of just getting back in the groove of things. And so kind of have my goals for this month is really just to get back into a consistency. And we finally have kind of a regular schedule. So it's easier for us just to get consistent. And so it's easier for me to actually sit down and, do something about it. And so going to work on my, Frank's list and really just sit down and figure out who I need to be contacting here and kind of creating relationships with and go from there. And so Lauren's kind of been kicking my butt, in all the aspects lately, but I've just been working at the trade and really kind of pouring everything I have into that for a while. And so I'm able to kind of diversify my time again. So, so that's kind of the plan, is just to really kind of work on my consistency this month and to really kind of get back in the groove of things and to start talking to people again and getting out there.
And it's the beginning of the month. So that's all. It's not, you don't have to worry, I have 5 days left of the month, cram everything in. You're I have a whole month to really devote and be intentional. So that's good. Just January was a great trial run of 2017.
Yeah.
And now we can be legit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Cause it's I don't know, January just kind of was weird. And I've been focused so much on stuff at the church, just trying to put everything into that, and it's paid off quite a bit. And so just being able to kind of like I said, we're finally getting a decent actual regular schedule every week, so I can easily say, okay, I'm gonna spend this time doing Plexus and
awesome.
Go from there. So
that's super great. I'm excited. That'll be good too. I feel like consistency is hard when you're trying to balance 5 different things. And that's the challenge even for me for Plexus, because I was looking over my calendar today and I literally had something going every day, legit, cannot not go until noon every day, and 7 a.m. to noon. And I'm when am I supposed to do Plexus? And I was you have to find those moments when you have a huge, a big schedule, and it's definitely Stop, Sam. I've watched your Zoom like a bajillion times. Anyways, yeah, Sam had a really great Zoom, so.
Yeah, and I mean it's also kind of difficult because Clara goes to bed like around 8, but if she's fussy, then maybe around 6, we're spending everything we have on her, trying not to pull her hair out. So I mean, it seems like with that, like our days just get cut shorter and shorter by a few hours.
Yeah.
And then with our regular schedule stuff, I mean, we're working 10 to 3 at the church and everything. So it's just finding, those spots to really work. And let's
It
face
definitely takes balance, and it takes a while to like look, and you have to be intentional. Like how I think Sam talked about this in your Zoom, I think, right, Sam, how you like go over and see where the gaps are going to be.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
That's something I've had to do recently that I've never had to do before because I'm a stay-at-home mom. But now with my life looking a little bit different, it's like, all right, let's look at a whole week in advance. Let's break it down, and that's been like
that's another thing I'm trying to do at the church is I'm trying to get volunteers around me to kind of help take the load off of me because I'm doing like everything in the youth ministry, plus me and Lauren are doing graphics and I'm playing bass and probably about 10 or 20 different things throughout the week that I do for the church.
Yeah.
And it just takes up so much effort and time. And so it's just trying to find the things that I can kind of give to other people and, so I can make time for myself, and
February is going to be good for you. Like it definitely takes balance, and there's a lot of grace that happens on the business side, but you definitely have sidelines and uplines pushing and cheering for you guys, even when it's difficult. So let's just know that. Montana, I'm going to try to unmute you. All right. Can you talk?
Hi.
Hi. All right. Well, fill us in on your life real quick on January, how your business went, what your hopes are for February.
Well, I spent a lot of money in January, and I have ridiculous amounts of product. So, like 4 months worth of product, guys, ridiculous. So my January has been really stretched between sick, working jobs, and numerous amounts of other last minute things and getting ready for, a wedding in Dallas and trying to get things for convention at online. Yeah, it's been crazy. I didn't a lot into it. I have 4 people that I'm still talking to, that I started talking to in person in January. They turn out to be pretty cool.
Montana, you're breaking in and out really bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, try it again.
Am I back?
Yes.
Okay. What was the last thing you heard?
You're working with talking with people that you were talking to in January.
Oh, yeah. So I have 4 people that I started talking to in January last week in person that may turn out to be pretty fruitful. So I am super excited about that. Really, it's been something Zach said was that trying to stay consistent, and something I have like grown up on is consistency is excellence. So I have failed at the consistency because between being sick and working 2 jobs and all the other things that life throws at us, I know that I have not been consistent, and I'm trying to get back on that. But my January has been crazy, insane. And like I said, trying to get ready for a wedding and everything else in another state and planning all that remotely is, rough.
Yeah.
Very rough. So I'm hoping that my February mellows out a little bit so I can focus more on the Plexus stuff, but I am trying to more so that I don't have to think about it as much. is something I'm working with. I'm definitely using my planner to try to keep up with follow-up. So thank you, Allie. Much appreciated. Yeah. And Zach, if you need help with volunteer management or retention, let me know. You kind of know where I fall on that.
Sounds good. I kind of forget about that.
That's great. All right, Montana, I'm going to mute you again unless you have anything else to say.
Nope, sounds good.
Okay. Cassie, can you still hear us?
What?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me? Because my phone is like messing up.
Yeah, I can hear you. Well, tell everyone, obviously no one can see you, but tell everyone how your January is and like your hopes and goals for February.
Okay. Well, in January, I really wanted to do better, but I didn't get to focus as much time as I wanted to on Plexus because they fired my manager at work, and we were really shorthanded, and so I worked like 12 days in a row, and it kind of sucked. But I have been trying to be consistent with posting and talking about it and taking the products. So yeah, I have a couple people interested, but no one's really like super interested. So
I think
yeah.
I was telling everyone before, I think you called on, I think maybe you heard this, so I apologize if I repeat this, is that when you're consistent, when it's a consistent consistency, I guess, or constant consistency, like over a period of a year, people notice that. And so since you did do the business for a good chunk of time, that
yeah,
going, like, you have to keep that in mind, that like it's not that you've been working at the business for 12 months, it's you've been working at the business for 1 month. And
yeah.
you know, so you have to like you have to keep that in mind, and like don't be just so hard on yourself, because like that's when I like all my new ambassadors that join, I'm always telling them you can't just expect overnight success. And so you have to keep that in mind, that even though you've been taking the product for 13 months and you've been, you've had that results, and, you've talked to people over the course of 13 months, now that you're really focusing on the business side, it is going to take a little bit longer for people to continue to catch on. And it's going to be you being consistent over a course of longer than probably like 3 or 4 months of like seeing your business grow.
Yeah.
Completely. And it's possible. You just have to like go through like the crud for the first few months of nothing and almost like silence, I think. Because some people get like that success right away, which is awesome. But that's not the case for everyone ever. Unless like,
I
don't know. It was me too. Like it took a while for things to like pick up. And then it was like, oh, okay. Now it's growing. Now it's getting, but you have to like go through those like mucky waters of nothing in silence, and no, I'm not interested, and no's, a lot of no's, I feel like. So
yep. Or a lot of, they say they want to, and then like they're not really serious.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that.
Yeah, and Sam too. Like you guys should talk, because like Sam has like that was the same way for you when you started. Like you had, even though you had an amazing testimony and amazing like, yes, everyone should take this product. It's been 5, 6, 7 months for people to actually like start coming to you.
There's been so many times I thought that Zach and I were gonna go silver because people were interested, and then it doesn't pan out. It's super frustrating. Like I get that.
Yeah, for sure.
I had messaged you before about how like some people that talked to me when I first started as an ambassador, they are literally just now like really becoming serious about it. So when I first started, people were like really excited for me specifically because they knew about my health issues, and they were really happy that I found something. And so they were like, oh, well, if it worked for you, like it has to work for me. But nobody like, there was probably out of the 7 people that messaged me that, probably 1 or 2 got products. And then out of those 2, 1 person stayed on the products. And now those other 5 people are like, oh, she's still posting about it. And oh, like she seems happier and she's lost some weight and she still doesn't have those health problems. And maybe I'll message her again, but this time, like, I'll actually listen to what she's saying. And so it does take time, but like Ali was saying, you have to be consistent because that's the biggest thing that they're looking at. Like, people I didn't even know are watching me.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So hang in there, you got this.
Yeah, and like, I was telling Ali earlier, like I've had people that originally told me no, and now they're coming back to me and being like, "Hey, so actually, I think I am interested. Can you tell me more about this?" So
Yeah.
I definitely think like, I've heard on other Zooms where it's like, "Oh, it takes 10 exposures or whatever," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." But like, it's kind of true. Like, I mean, and these people might not even like order this time, but again, like. They're interested, and eventually they're going to get to the point where either they're going to or they're just going to completely give up. And I think it's going to I don't know, I think most, if they're going to keep coming back, they're eventually going to get, finally take the plunge.
Yeah.
Time. You need to be consistent, and you have to be willing to deal with they're going to ask questions, and that's okay. And I have some people that literally asked me questions for 8-9 months before they even ordered. And they were not that they weren't not legit questions, but they weren't even valid. Why would that prevent you from ordering a product? I'm so confused why they were asking these questions, but it took a while. And now okay, cool. They finally ordered, and that's awesome. Or they're going to oh, I want the business side, because they might not even see that the business side is has the potential that it has. So, but that was everyone. So I'm going to go over, I just wanted to talk about a couple things really quick as I'm still choking. I'm so awful. I hate being sick. So I wanted to go over convention. And if you guys had any questions, Montana and Cassie, you're muted. So if you have any questions, I'm really sorry about that. You'd have to figure out a way to unmute yourself or text me and tell me that you need to ask a question. Sorry.
We can see Montana, so he could just start waving or something.
That's true.
I think I saw something that said Montana left it.
No, he's on there.
Oh,
I got
okay.
thumbs up.
He randomly.
I don't know,
I think
what
it's because he's driving that it just keeps going.
Oh, okay.
But convention is, they closed, from what I believe, that they closed registration for right now. So if you haven't actually registered, that you have to, they sent everyone an email, and I can forward the email if you didn't get the email.
Is it going to reopen?
Yes, they did it. They are doing that specifically from what I gathered and what I understood from the email, to make it possible so everyone can go, if they're going to go. So if that means they had to wait for their tax return, because that's a valid reason,
yeah, that's me back.
They're not going to let it sell out by February 15th and then be like, sorry guys, for all of you waiting for your tax return because you have bills at a life, now you can't go. So they're going to open it and close it after so many registration hits. And they'll be letting us know, and I'll forward you the email if you didn't get it, and it tells the dates of when they're opening and closing it.
Okay.
And then last year it sold out in April or at the end of March. So just keep that in mind. If you haven't registered and you want to go to convention, definitely don't get on the waiting list, because I did. And by the grace of God, I ended off the waiting list the first week of May last year.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was super nerve-wracking. And I was like, I don't know. So
I know you don't want to book a hotel or a flight or anything.
But I mean, I did, and it worked out. I was like, I'm just saying I'm going, and I will be someone's guest. I'll just show up. And I mean, obviously I got in, so it wasn't an issue, but don't do that. Don't wait until the last minute if you want to go. And if you have any questions about what it looks like from firsthand of someone who's been there, let me know, and I can try to remember what it was like. It was super fun. I think everyone should be there. I had a lot of fun. And they have big bathtubs in the room with jacuzzi jets. So, I mean, if that's reason enough to go to Vegas. It is Montana. I know it is. So yeah, convention, make sure you're registered. That's all I had to say about that. That was my little plug-in, because I want you guys all there, and I think that leaders are born at convention. I've seen myself grow and my business grow exponentially since convention last year. Like ridiculous.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be fantastic. I'm not going to try to convince you, but I'm going to try to convince you because y'all should be there.
I'm not trying to convince you, but you guys are all going.
Yeah. You are. Okay. So I wanted to go over, besides convention, 3 things. One being product, the second being a product of the product, and then third about recruitment. And hopefully it doesn't like kick me off or anything. It shouldn't. My computer's charged. So if for some reason like it dies, I apologize. My computer just keeps reminding me like, you're about to die. No, you're not. You have 43% left. So product. I think a huge thing that I'm noticing with, here, there. Now I'm pinned. Sam, your face might be on it for a while because it was just of you. Anyway, is as ambassadors, wherever you are in the business, whether you joined a month ago, 2 months ago, 5 months ago, a year ago, is that you will still want to be knowledgeable in the product. And there's always new resources that are being available, whether it's in the back office or that corporate just releases publicly that you want to make sure you're reading up on. And so, yeah, make sure you're knowledgeable about that. If you feel like you are still in a place where you have to ask me a question or you're asking on the team page or having to search stuff on the team page, that's fine. But figure out a way to grow yourself so that you don't always have to be Googling on the team page, you know, whatever disease you're looking for or whatever side effect you're like whatever it is. You want to make sure that you're taking that knowledge and putting it to use and not like, wait, does Triplex help with this? Every single time.
Hey, Allie.
Yes.
Interrupt. Hey, Lauren, that would be a good thing for you to do is make a spreadsheet of like what diseases go with what, and then, you know, what diseases match up with what products. Just saying. My wife likes to make spreadsheets.
Technically, like, yes, it's not compliant, so you can't really make anything like that.
Well, as long as you don't post it, right?
For like personal use, yeah, you can make that and be like, oh yeah, that is super helpful. And then also there was a bunch of leaders that did a Zoom like a couple months ago, like before Christmas, about product knowledge and like stuff you might not know about the product that isn't fully compliant, that you can't, you know, just be posting about, but you can send in personal messages. And they're actually going to be re-recording it.
Thank goodness.
That's cool.
Yeah, right. And I don't know how they're doing it, but they're going to be re-recording it for our benefit and for our knowledge so that we have that information on hand.
It was really, really great. It was very long. So I hope that they do it in like quarters or something.
Yeah, or it'll just all be recorded and we won't, you know, it won't go live.
And it was awesome. So whenever they repost it, everyone has to watch it. It was so awesome.
Yeah, I think like I've been wanting to like watch a Zoom like that for a while, and like we had something like we could not get out of, and I could not get on that Zoom, and I was really upset.
And like, I mean, I wasn't even able to be on that Zoom, which is such a bummer. But when they redo it, like make sure you're watching it, even if it is another like 3-hour Zoom, like watch it in chunks, watch it however it ends up being. But you do want to be knowledgeable in it because it does come across, if you are like not confident, but that you are like making shorter answers, I guess. People can read into that in messages and in conversations. And if you're like, oh yeah, Triplex, yeah, get Triplex. They're like, well, why? Like you want to have those solid answers and be knowledgeable and be able to find the stuff in the back office. Make sure you're using the shareables, making sure that you know how to use the clinical studies to show people that, because that's what's going to win people over. People want the evidence, especially right now with so many people finally, thankfully, like jumping on the bandwagon of wanting to be healthy and being bombarded with, well, this is healthy and this is healthy and this and this and this and all these chemicals and all. So you just want to know and be confident in what you're telling them about our product and have that belief in it. Yes.
Talking about training, did you ever get that scan that I sent you?
Maybe. I'd have to go look.
Super Saturday?
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I just haven't posted it, yet.
Gotcha.
My life. It's fine. It's fine. Now I have it. It's definitely on my computer. Thanks for that reminder, though, Montana. And then the second one is being a product of the product. This is something that I feel like is talked about a lot, and which is good, but I think it's blown over a lot, and we do not take it 100% for what it is. And this is something that was like convicting of me, is that no one's going to trust you if you're not consistently using that product ever. And that has nothing to do with just Plexus. That is when you go to a restaurant and you ask like the waitress, like, well, what's your favorite thing on the menu? And they say, oh, I don't eat here. What? Like that like cuts, like I went to the cheesecake the other day and I was like, what's your favorite thing off the menu? He's like, honestly, I don't eat here. I was like, it's Cheesecake Factory. Why would you not eat here? Like, are you stupid? He was like, I'm just not a fan. I'm like, then why are you putting yourself as the face of that? And I'm not saying that you guys need to like, do triplex and then have, do P96 on top of it and mega, I'm not expecting you guys to do all the products all at once, all the time. That's not realistic unless, you just want to be like the healthiest you and have the time to remember to take all those supplements. Like I really don't. But I made sure that like, for me, there was a point where I wasn't taking any Plexus except like, maybe I'd like take a, BioCleanse here, or ProBio here. And I was like, Allie, no one's going to take you seriously. And I noticed that's when my sales completely dropped, like went from like fantastic to nothing, is when I was not being a product of the product. So whether that means you have to start being consistently using BioCleanse or probiotic, or even if it's Edge, and it's just one capsule every other day that you're using, that's going to help your testimony and that's going to help you in your business. And it's not even that you're going to be posting about it. It's just that when you take a product, you have a deeper belief in it and you have more, I want to say just more like grasp on products itself.
I feel it. I feel like, I just feel like when I take products, like that when I'm talking to other people about products, whether they're ones that I'm taking or not, I just feel more of like a connection, I guess.
Yeah. It's so true. Someone's Facebook is going off.
It's going crazy.
But don't expect a business to come out of Plexus if you're not using the product consistently. And you don't have to be using triplex. Like if you can't, handle Slim every single day, like right now, if someone asked me, hey, are you using Slim? I had to be honest. I was like, no, I'm not, because I've had like such an aversion to Slim the past like 3 or 4 months that just tasting it it tastes like my Tums that I have to take for heartburn. So I'm like, nope, like that's not coming anywhere near me. And I'm just honest about it, but I'm like, but BioCleanse, let me tell you about BioCleanse. So yeah, make sure that if you're wanting to get something out of the business, that you're consistently using the product, and that you're not finding an excuse to not. I was talking with an ambassador and they're like, oh, I haven't used the product for like 5 months because I can't afford triplex. And if you can't block your own objections of why products are too expensive, even if it is just BioCleanse, like I can't afford BioCleanse, then figure out why you can't afford BioCleanse and figure out a way to afford BioCleanse. Like if you can't block yourself and block your own hesitations and your own financial needs for Plexus, then don't expect people to ever break down their walls if they can't afford Plexus.
Yeah, like I think that's what's happened with me and Zach, is like, especially right after we had her, like our customer base super dropped off, so we weren't getting our products paid for. And so we didn't order products for like probably 3 months. And then it was like, yeah, it was kind of like, why can I expect people to want to order if the main excuses don't have money? So it's like, I'm going to do exactly what I tell other people to, make it a priority to at least get one product. Yeah. So like right now we just have ProBio. Like it's not ideal, but it's like, it's better than nothing.
And you're taking it and you're being, and
it's like,
that's huge.
Yeah. And so it's like, but yeah, it's like, I'm not going to make the excuse that a bunch of other people, that I know other people have made.
For sure. And that's like a huge thing, is to make sure you're not, or even if you there's times where excuses are valid. It's not like you have to be perfect and never have an excuse and whatever, but you need to be able to look at the excuse and break it down and see all right, well, where can I compromise? Where is this just me being fill in the blank, lazy, or if I'm just being ridiculous with my money, like me, I'm like buying all the baby things. And I'm like, all right, Allie, be legit. You cannot buy all the baby things. And then figure out like what it would take for your business to afford your product. Because that's the same thing that's going to happen when you want to grow your team and you're looking at your back office and you're like, oh, they aren't active. They're not active. They're not active. They deleted their backup order, all this stuff. And you'll get super disappointed and you're like, wait a second, like I'm not even working enough to get my products paid for. So like know what you have to do. Like for me, when people ask like, well, I don't want to work the business. I just want my product paid for. I like know exactly what to go over with them. I'm like, all right, this is what, if you want to be able to afford Triplex every month, this is bare minimum what you have to have in your business. So like know that, figure it out. It's like super simple math, like super simple, like 3 Triplex preferred orders will make you $110. Like that will get you Triplex. If you want $205, that's 4 Triplex, get you at 500 PV. It's super easy math that you just have to like look at the comp plan and like add. Mm-hmm. And if I can do it being homeschooled, figure out what you need to like cover your product and then go from there.
If she can do it, anyone can.
It's very
I'm kidding.
It's very true. I was like, oh,
I actually like doing that stuff though.
You do or don't?
I do. I like doing that because it breaks it down and it makes it look a whole lot easier than just saying like, even if I know and I say it out loud, or I'm like, oh, I need to find 5 people to buy Triplex, or 3 people to buy Triplex, and 2 people to get the Bio Twins.
Right.
To hit what I want. Like writing it down and seeing it like mapped out, which is what I'm doing for like convention contests too. So much better, and it looks so much more attainable when it's just there.
And you can
well then, and I think it helps people too, because then it's like you can tell them, okay, here's exactly what you would need to do, and like you'd be like, you share with 3 people. You get 3 people that want the same thing. And it's like, 3 people, right? Like,
yeah,
I think, it just makes it so much more attainable when you can give someone a concrete answer of, okay, here's how you achieve that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was a huge thing that I've like just really, I think over the course of like this past season of my life have realized about being a product of the product and like knowing how to break it down for myself and be like, all right, what do I need to cover? For me, like I'm going to cover my plane tickets this paycheck for Plexus. All right, what do I need to do to get, the $400 specifically for my plane tickets? And then like working towards that. And so breaking it down and like writing people's names when they like order, I'm like, oh, right. She ordered, I'm going to write down her name. So it's already check off and I feel a lot better about myself. Cause I'm needy and I need, that constant, good job, Allie. So, small things. And then the last one before I head out and go get tacos, I'm super excited about that, is would you recruit you? And I saw this on Donnelly and Laura's team page, and I read it like really quick, and then I had to go back and reread it. And it really stuck out to me that like, Allie, if I was Rachel, like would I recruit me? Like would I actually go after me again? Like what am I doing to make me attractive to me? And I was like, of course I would, but I really had to think about that because there's things, and it made me think like, wow, if I knew me as an ambassador, I would have like smacked me across the face and been like, all right, well, if you are going to want to work the business, you need to work on this, 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 and this. And I was like, oh, Allie, you need to work on this, 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 and this. So just really be thinking about that this week. And are you someone that you would that you would personally want on your team to work your business? Are you that business builder for yourself? Are you going to be that strong leg for yourself? Are you someone who's following through, who's constantly growing, who's constantly asking questions? If you're not, then don't be expecting to grow in your team because that's where your limit is. If you would not actually recruit yourself, then no one's going to come to you. And something is like, what are you doing to grow yourself as a leader? Because you guys, if you all want a team, like you can't just be you and just float by. Like Donna Lee and Laura and Kara and Celeste and, Jen, like they did not get to where they are just by coasting. Mm-hmm. And being like, oh, I'm great. Like I'm a great leader. They had to learn and they've had to, apologize to their team and keep learning and learn from their mistakes and go back over and like re-edit tons of posts that they've done and be like, oh, that was not the correct way to do it. So you're always wanting to better yourself as a leader and as a person and a human being and whatever. But figure out where you rate yourself as a leader. If you rate yourself as a 3 or 4, and that's something you struggle with, which is fine, because not everyone is like, you know, born a Celeste Gwen. Like, let's just be real. Then know that if you only rate yourself at a 3 and a 4, you will never, and I say this like very nicely, you will never, ever be able to recruit anyone higher than that 3 or 4, because that's your, like, that's where you max out. That's your lid. So if you know that you're not good at being a leader or you would not recruit yourself, know that you are going to pull the weakest little stragglers along with you in this business. And then you'll just have a broken, weak team that you are just dying with. And if you know that you're a 3 and a 4, what are you doing to make yourself a 5 and a 6? And then a 7 and an 8? And then a 9 and a 10? Because that is all attainable. Just because we're not all Celeste Gwens doesn't mean we cannot get there. And that's why it goes back to me saying that, like, leaders are born at convention. People go, like, there's people on Ashley's downline that are so quiet, that are so conservative, and that are, like, kicking butt in this business because they've learned how to use their weakness as being maybe not an outspoken leader ever, how to grow and how to maximize their potential so that they're an 8, a 9, and they have extremely strong leaders underneath them now. Mm-hmm. So whether that's like going through, like I'm going through for like the 4th time, kid you not, like 21 Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Like 4th time going through it. Like, it's a good book. And, or just a John Maxwell book. Like, he's an amazing author. So if it's just a book and not the workbook, like, what are you doing to maximize yourself as a leader? Because you will only be able to do and pull and recruit people underneath that where you max yourself out at. And you have to be realistic. You can't be like, oh, of course I'm at 10. Like, no, you're not. Like, be real with yourself. Like, you have weaknesses. You have to figure out where it is and know that you're never going, if you are bad at communication, then know that you probably will never recruit great communicators unless you try to work on your communication skills. So yeah, that was something I want to talk about, and just figure out where you are leadership-wise. If you do want to grow a team, a lot of you guys have goals of going silver, going gold, going senior gold, going above that. And that doesn't come by accident, and you don't grow a team just by chugging along and signing people with welcome kits. Like, that can happen. That can probably get you to gold, maybe, but it's not going to get you much further. So really think, like, would you recruit yourself? And then where are your weaknesses that you would want to grow in, and where are strengths that you want to refine even more to grow in to help your team as your team grows and as you go silver and gold and senior gold. So that's all I really had. And I'm going to go get tacos. And I've been super sick all week, and I really apologize. I know I was supposed to, like, talk with a lot of you guys and have, like, one-on-ones this week, and I just dropped the ball on that because I was dying. And I'm glad that I didn't talk to anyone because he wouldn't have understood me. So if you guys still want to do one-on-ones, let me know before. We'll try to get them done before Valentine's Day. So it gives, like, a good, like, week.
Oh,
I
was like, when is Valentine's Day?
In a week. 1 week. So if you do want to do a one-on-one, let me know and we can get that scheduled in, even if it's like during nap time for me or at night or morning. I'm completely open to whatever. I just have to be a little bit flexible with my schedule. But
Hey,